Hey everyone, welcome to another video. So I'm really excited for this one. This one's actually going to be all about mid-game. So I've had a lot of questions within the YouTube comments or in Discord asking, Curtis, how do I know where to be in mid-game? Or how do I know what to do? How do I know when to group? How do I know how to carry through mid to late game macro? So I've really tried to put a lot of thought into this video. So rather than just, say, give one game or one example, and this is what I do within one specific game, I'm going to try and step you through differing games at differing styles. So, games where I'm playing immobile mages when I'm behind, immobile mages when I'm ahead, assassins, all different styles of champions at different times in the game. So you can really begin to understand my thought process. And what I've actually realized is that, yes, when I play in a challenger game, when I play in a diamond game or a platinum or a gold, yes, I play differently, but the thought process and the things that go in my head is actually completely the same. And my goal for this video is for you to be able to replicate that in your own game, so you guys know and have the tools without me having to watch, know exactly how to navigate mid to late game macro. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a Cassio VOD here. And I think this is a really good one to start with because I think it really exemplifies how to carry from behind, even if you're behind, with mid to late game macro and really good decision making. So in this game, what do we see? I have a 0-2 Urgot. I have a 0-1 Rage farming Shyvana jungle. My bot lane's losing, and this Urgot's actually about to die again. He becomes, and then Mordekaiser's 3-0. I'm versing a Yasuo as well, who's 2-0, which is quite scary. So it's a very tough game. So, but before we even get remotely close to the mid to late game, I'm going to give you the tools and tell you how I know what decisions to make. So let's just take this game for example. I'm a Cassiopeia. So in my mind, this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, okay, well, what is the identity of my champion? I'm playing Cassiopeia. What does that mean? So you can't begin to navigate mid to, or know what to do to mid to late game if you don't know what you're trying to achieve on your champion. So what the biggest problem I see with players is that they try to understand, oh, what do I do in a game? But they don't even know what they want on that specific champion. So as Cassio, what I'm thinking is, okay, what sort of fights do I want? Where on the map do I want to fight? Do I want extended skirmishes? Do I want to make picks? Do I want to fight out in the open? Do I want to fight in choke points? I'm also thinking, who threatens me on the enemy team? Who actually can kill me on the enemy team? Who do I threaten on the enemy team? What sort of fights do they want on me? I'm constantly processing all this information. So what I'm thinking is, okay, well, Trundle, Mordekaiser, and Yasuo don't really have much engage onto me. They're very low range, which means I actually threaten them quite well, and they don't threaten me quite well. The biggest threat in my mind is, I guess, Caitlyn range if she gets fed, and then also Nautilus can kind of lock me down, which won't be good for me. Then also I'm thinking, well, and I'm also thinking about my power spikes. When do I want to fight? What items do I want to fight around? And when I get them, where do I want to fight? Where do I want to be? And I know that I don't want to be caught. I don't want to be getting flanked. I want to be keeping them at a range. I want to be keeping them at a tether. So how do I do that? I need vision. I need to know where they are, and I need to respect this Nautilus and this Trundle pillar so I don't get caught off guard. So these are the sorts of things I'm already thinking about given the champion I'm playing, and this is going to differ for every single champion, what you want to do. So this is going to help me navigate as I get into the game. So, I guess an analogy that will kind of help conceptualize this for you guys is, it's like in real life. You have choices to make day to day. So how do you know what choices to make day to day? Well, it makes it a lot easier to know what to do day to day if you know what you're trying to achieve. For example, if wealth and status is really important to you, then obviously climbing the corporate ladder or going to work, working all the time, maybe you're not going to go to gym and hang out with friends as much. You're going to know what decisions in your behavior, you're going to know how to act. But where people get confused in real life as well is where they don't know what they're trying to achieve, so they kind of just waste time, or they autopilot, and it doesn't lead to good things later down the track. And it's the exact same in League of Legends. So what I'm going to do now is step you through how I navigate the rest of this game. And before we get to before we get to the proper mid game, I actually want to highlight this as a perfect example of a fight, or I guess an advantage that I get in this game because I was able to think like this. So like I said before, guys, I was thinking about who threatens me. Well, I know with the information right now, I know that Nautilus is the biggest threat on me. I know that Trundle's on top side, and I know that Mordekaiser's not anywhere near. So I know it's just a 1v1. But this Yasuo's trying to scare me. But I know that given my prior analysis and given my prior assessment of the champions and their threat on me, I know that I can take this 1v1. No fight should be seen in isolation. Every fight, every skirmish you take should make sense and should be calculated given the champion you're playing. And this was the perfect example given that I'm playing Cassiopeia here, I knew that I could take this fight. So it's 16 minutes in the game right now, and the game's kind of tightened up a little bit. I'm 5-1, I'm quite strong, but my team's quite, my Ergon and my Lucian are quite behind still. So how do I know now whether to go mid or go to a side lane? So what am I actually thinking? So first thing I'm thinking, is there an immediate objective that needs to be contested? Is there a dragon or a baron or a rift herald, etc.? Well, in this case, no. And so then what am I thinking next? Well, what is the level of engage of the enemy? So let's just say maybe I'm versing an Ornn or, some heavy Malphite, heavy engaged champions, and I don't trust my team from, maybe they want a siege or something. Then I would probably group. But in this specific situation, like I've identified before, versing a Trundle, a Mordekaiser, like a Caitlyn, and a Yasuo, there's really not much engage. So if I don't need to immediately group, and I don't need to be there for a specific objective, I should be communicating with pings, creating a man advantage for my team, knowing already prior to this that I already threaten Yasuo in the side lane, I threaten Mordekaiser in the side lane, and I know Trundle doesn't have much threat on me already. So as I'm walking to the side, I'm assessing, well, who can match me in the side? I see Caitlyn bot, Trundle's top, Yasuo's top, and Mordekaiser's dead. So I know right now I can't make that fight anyway. And even if I were to go mid, I'm a very low range champion. I can't siege mid tower. I'm not really going to offer much if I were to group. So I'm also thinking now in my head, okay, how can I create an advantage for my team? And given I'm strong in the side lane, I want to drag someone to me. And I probably could have communicated better that they shouldn't have been fighting that, but they kind of had a man advantage since Mordekaiser was already dead. So right now, me being in the side lane, I know that this is going to be favorable for my team. I know I can continue to push because there's nothing I can do mid. I'm not a siege champion. They don't have much engage on the members who are mid, and I kind of see most of them on vision. So it's a constant tug of war between assessing the amount of vision, assessing the amount of threat they have over me, and the amount of gauge they have on my team, and then also being in the lane that that the next objective is going to happen. So I know that we're going to be contesting Dragon as a spawn. So I've been pinging it in chat. Cloud Drake in 29 seconds or 20 seconds actually. And I've already been communicating that. So I know that we're going to be grouping for this dragon. So now, after getting this tower, I know that I don't want to be caught in the split before the dragon fight starts because I'm not a flanking champion, right? So now in my mind, I've got the side lane pushed. Hopefully this is going to make someone react on the enemy team. And I know that I need to be here ready for the dragon as it spawns, knowing that, if a fight breaks out, I don't want to be coming in from the flank. I want to be front on. I want to be seeing them all in front of me because that is coherent with the identity of my champion. And this is why understanding what sort of fights you want with your champion and how you want to fight is super important. Now, look at this. We start the dragon. So this is a little sketchy in the sense that my AD carry is not here. But again, why do I feel so confident? Well, I know that I have Seraphs. I have my ultimate, and I've already assessed the level of engage. Mordekaiser's walking mid. There's Trundles around here. Yasuo can't flank. Yasuo cannot flank, so I'm not scared of Yasuo. If this was a different universe, and say I'm versing a heavy poke Xerath over the pit, and I know I can get poked, or I'm versing a Fizz or a Diana that's pushed out bot and flanking me from behind, then I probably wouldn't want to do this. Then I would probably walk up around here, go back to mid and push out mid, regroup with the team and come in together. But now I know that no one can walk through here. I can just miasma, I can just Q, I can peel back with my ultimate, and then they can't get onto me. So, this is why, as a coach, I can't tell you what to do every single time. This is why I need to give you the tools to be able to make your own decisions when you play your own games. And, as this plays out, I've already identified, we start the dragon, we get it really, really fast. Yes, my AD carry's not here, but I know, look, Yasuo can't flank, he's not doing anything right now. Now, I'm in a really good position where I've separated myself from the team. Even if Yasuo jumps on me, they're so split, and I can just peel back like this. I know they can't really do anything, and then we end up just 3v5ing their whole team. And, I know I've already established before that Mordekaiser can't kill me either, and then I end up just killing the Mordekaiser as well. I'm always trying to tie it back to the champion, the specific champion I'm playing. So now, we're just a few minutes after this, 8 minutes, 18 minutes, 30. As I'm coming out of base, I'm actually typing to my support saying, I want you to come topside and get vision for me in topside river. So I know that, again, if I group mid, it's not really going to do anything because, we've already got the tier 1 tower. Lucian just got the tier 1 tower. Our next objective is this top tier 1 tower. And I also know that I see Yasuo bot here, Nautilus mid, and given my prior assessment of the enemy threats on me and how strong my I am, I know that no one can really kill me. I set up my own vision just in case here. Put a ward down in the river here. Put a pink ward just in case as well. And which, you know, kind of shows to me that I kind of have that safety. I see Trundle on bot side. So I know that if anyone shows here, it's going to be Mordekaiser. And if Mordekaiser shows, I win the 1v1. Again, in another universe where maybe we're really far behind and I don't win the split, I would just be grouping mid and then walking together as a team and doing something else. And I'll show you other examples within this video of me doing other things. But, you know, as this game plays out, I know that I can be here. And if you ever have the opportunity to 1v2, if you can 1v2 the mid and the jungle or the top and the jungle, you should be doing that most of the time as a mid laner because that's just going to generate so much threat and it's actually going to generate man advantage fights as well. And look at this. I know why aren't I grouping mid again? Well, Lucian and Urgot, they're already getting the wave. No one's contesting mid wave. They don't need help moving into river. If they were struggling to get mid wave, then I would just go down and help them contest the vision and then come back up. Knowing that then we would have the vision, then I would be a lot safer to be able to push this out. And just fast forwarding just a little bit here, obviously now that I know that my teammates mid were able to go using that vision control and using their first move off the wave, we're able to hover me topside like this, and we're able to eventually set up a dive onto this Yasuo, kill this Yasuo, and then start the Baron here. So again, how do I know the Baron is the correct call? How do you know when to say yes or no to Baron? Well, what do I see? What do I know? I know we just killed Yasuo, so it's going to be a 4v5. But what do we also know? We've already got the vision control we set up before. But how are they going to walk in? I'm playing Cassio. This is my domain. This is exactly what I want. I want these really open areas, you know, playing along the choke points where I know they can't get through. And as this plays out, I know we can do it very fast, but I know they can't come in and contest. They have no engage. And look at this. I just put my miasma on the choke point, and I know if they come anywhere near, I can just ulti them, and we're just going to win this team fight because this is coherent with exactly the type of fight that I want. No one's flanking me. No one's closing the gap. No one's, you know, poking me from a long range distance. And look at this. They come too close. I get a 3-man ultimate, and then we just completely shred them because no one can get onto me. Very linear engages. Cassio is very good against linear engage. So what we're going to do is let's go on to the next video. So in this next VOD, guys, this is a game where I'm playing Fizz. And it's a bit of a close game, so one side of the map did really poorly and one side of the map did okay. So my bot lane was doing pretty decent, and my top lane was getting absolutely destroyed. My jungle was quite far behind as well, and I was doing pretty good as well. So what I'm going to do is show you a few, again, more mid-game decision-making things while playing Fizz. So let's quickly break down the identity of Fizz. In my mind, I've done the exact same thing as a Cassio game, where I've identified, oh, okay, I'm playing Fizz. Who do I threaten? Well, you know, I guess this Senna and this Ezreal are really vulnerable to me. Everyone on their team is actually a threat because none of them have MR, so you got to assess items, you got to assess their ability to peel off of them, you got to assess how far ahead you are, and then I got to think about what sort of fights do I want? How do I want to approach fights? So when I'm playing an assassin like Fizz, ideally, I want to be coming in from the flank, I want to be coming from out of vision, I want to be creating either a man advantage in the side lane, then roaming and doing something, or picking someone off in rotation. All these different, like obviously assassin-esque type things. So why this is important, because this will dictate, you know, what lane I'm in, where I want to come in from into the river, how do I actually navigate the mid game. So what I actually do here is I recognize, well, my AD carry and support are winning. So what does that mean? When your AD carry and support are getting, you know, they're quite fed and it's getting into mid game, like 13, 14, 15 minutes, I actually call them to go mid. And why do I do this? Well, this is a common thing you can do sometimes if you feel like you're winning and your bot lane's winning. Maybe you snowballed them prior. And I tell them to go mid, because I know they will get way more control around mid than I will. So I'm just going to quickly draw on the minimap here and explain this concept. So I know that if this Lucian and Bard go around mid, they're going to always get first push off the minion wave, which means they're going to be able to walk into river and control vision in river prior, because I know this dragon is our next objective. So what does that mean for me though? You may ask, well, aren't you going to get pushed in by their AD carry and support? Well, no, because their AD carry and support's going to be scared to push up because I know my AD carry and support can just hover into river. I can ping them, hover me into river, and we can chase them. If they decide to go for tower, we can just chase them down the long lane and scare them. So then what will eventually happen is their AD carry and support will either have to match mid, in which we just get the same level of control, but I'm in the side lane, which is even better. So I'll show you how this plays out. So I navigate myself to the side lane here. and what I end up seeing is that it's me versus Ezreal. So I have a few options here. Well, I know Mountain Dragon's coming up soonish. Given the location of my jungler, and actually at this moment I didn't know where the jungler was. I think he just showed on top now. No, that was actually the Riven. I can either play to set up dives on this Ezreal just by myself because I'm a Fed assassin, or I can push and move and create a man advantage given that the Ezreal just has to catch waves under the tower. So just fast forwarding a little bit here, I'm continually pushing in this Ezreal like this because obviously they didn't want to put this Ezreal mid, maybe because Ezreal was just getting shit on or whoever. It doesn't really matter who goes in the side lane because as an assassin and when you're ahead, you're generally going to get pressure. And then what happened, it eventually leads to is, okay, I just push and move. And then what it's going to do is allow me to come in from the flank. And because of that, you know, I push an Ezreal bot while he's reacting to a wave bot, I can roam mid. And I'm able to get a nice little flank off onto this Lee Sin, which is then blows his ultimate and allows us to kind of set up this pick here. Which is then, what was a close game, you know, 12 kills to 11. We get the shutdown on this Lee Sin, and then we end up being able to chase and follow through and actually ace the team here. So this all was created from, number one, me identifying that it was better and we get more control on the map with my AD carry and support going mid. But then also me identifying that as an assassin, I want to be coming in from the flank, which is going to create flank opportunities, kill opportunities, and any skirmish really where it's going to be either a man advantage. Because as well, if we go back just a little bit here, I know that Ezreal can't walk into river. Ezreal's scared because I've got this bush pinked. Ezreal can't follow me into river, so always there's going to be a man advantage here. So this is just a neat little trick you can do when playing assassins. And notice how this ties directly into the champion I'm playing. You can't look at each game and trying to do the exact same things if you're playing different champions. Every champion has strengths and weaknesses. It's your job to use like decision making that complements your strengths and decreases your weaknesses, right? If I were to just be mid, right? If I were to just be mid this whole time, grouped with the team, and like on vision in mid wave, it's a lot harder for me to get onto the backline, right? It's way harder for me to land a fish on this Ezreal or a fish onto this Senna or whatever. They can just stand in front of the Riven, stand in front of this Lee Sin, and it's going to be a straight front to back team fight, which is not as favorable for Fizz, okay? So just fast forwarding a little bit in this game, Mountain Dragon's coming out. I think Dragon's coming out very soon. And I tell Darius, the top laner, just to group mid and me go bot so I can come in from the side. So what do? It's the exact same premise here. So if they come in together as a 4 from mid, no one can match me 1v1 the side lane because I'm an assassin. I'm a champion that excels in the side lane. So what can I do? I have two options. I can play patient and play for the flank, or I can actually pick this Ezreal on his way to the team fight. And what I decide to do this time, instead of just trying to get the flank off straight away, I wait for this Ezreal to kind of come by, and I try and get the pick first before I join the team fight. So this is something you can do. I kill him, and then I group. So again, I could have done two ways. Yes, we're ahead from before, but again, this is how to make sure you end games on Assassin. This is the sort of decision making that is actually going to guarantee when you're ahead to win games, because a lot of my content is all about kind of getting advantages, using solid mid lane fundamentals to get leads, spread your lead in the early game. But this is more stuff about, okay, when it does get to mid game, what are things that you can do to actually guarantee that you win the game? And this is all, again, just off basic macro gameplay. And these games are all played at actually like a platinum, low diamond level, so it's not extremely high. Yes, if you were to play this in more of like a gold level, people will listen less, but you can like even myself playing in gold a little bit, I've seen if you use pings, you communicate in advance, and you're really solid on, I guess, the decision making, people will somewhat listen. You may have to group more than you usually would, but we'll get into more of that as we go through a bunch of different VODs. So as we jump into the next VOD here, this is actually going to be a Twisted Fate game. This was actually quite a tough Twisted Fate match. And again, what do we want to do when we jump into it? How do we know what to do? We've got to start with the champion's identity. What sort of fights do I want? I'm versing actually a Katarina this game. So straight away I'm thinking, well, me comparatively, again, I want to be utilizing the utility of my ultimate. I want to be creating man advantage, eventually getting into the side lane, pushing out, and playing that man advantage fights. Whereas Katarina just wants that straight 5v5. So here, this is a very, very common example where bot lane, the AD carry and support get bot tower. They get a really late reset. I want to go to the side lane, but I can't go to the side lane straight away here because I need to ensure that mid lane is constantly pushed. And you may ask, why do you put such an emphasis on keeping mid lane pushed all the time? Well, why I'm getting, again, I guess why keeping mid lane pushed is so important is because it actually prevents the enemy from pushing and moving in and clearing all your vision. If I keep this pushed all the time, it's going to make it a lot harder for them to kind of walk into river and clear vision, and I can just, again, hover out of vision and threaten them, and they're going to be scared to walk into river. It's just a really, really good way, I guess, of forcing the enemy into a position and making sure that you have control in the river. So, as this actually happens, and I actually found this specific moment to be quite common in my games, is where it looks like there's going to be a decision made between Rift Herald and Dragon. I really, really didn't want to just match them 5v5 on this dragon, given that that doesn't make sense for my champion. But then what do I see? As we begin to like group up for this dragon, I see Tristana split here a little bit. I'm kind of prepping my cards, making, thinking about what I can do here. And what I'm telling, I actually start pinging this Kai'Sa, go mid, because he was actually walking to the side lane. And what I was thinking here is, okay, great. This is actually going to be looking good, because now Tristana's going to have to group mid, because he can't be split, and then I can get the shove bot and potentially look for a man advantage fight if someone begins to catch the next bot wave. But then what do I see? Well, no one's showing, and then I see Shaco on Rift Herald there. And look at what everyone's default response is. Kai'Sa's pinging on my way to Rift Herald. But no, this is really bad, because this is not the fight we want. This is not a man advantage fight. Our Jarvan's here ready to start the dragon. This is not good. It's okay to trade objectives. So what do? I just ping back. I ping back, danger, whatever, and say back, because that is not the fight we want. I'm trying to ping them out of that, because we've committed this dragon, and I know that this is not good for my champion. This is not good for our team. And again, this is all just stems down to what sort of fights do you want, and how, I guess, what decisions or what sort of things do you want to happen in the game that is going to increase the strength of your champion. And is these straight 5v5 skirmishes, or these fights where, they're not playing around your gold card or your burst, it's going to be really, really bad for me, especially. And that's what you really got to do. You got to impose your will on the game. So now we're nearing around 21 minutes into the game. So, so now it's Twisted Fate heading into the side lane. What are some of the things that you should be thinking about? Well, always what I'm thinking about, first of all, I actually start communicating with my team. I said, wait for me to shove side, play around my R, and I ping the cooldown of my R. Yes, and if this is in gold, that's going to be a lot less reliable. I mean, this is like a Plat 1 high diamond game, so people somewhat listen. But even then, if I'm in gold, I would assess the level of engage of the enemy, and I would assess the level of control we have. And then if we had no control like we have now, like see, if we look on the vision, we have no river control, we have no deep vision, we have nothing. I guess we have bot side river control, but we need to swap this onto top side given Baron's the next objective is 20 minutes plus right now. So if this was in gold, given the amount of engage of the enemy team, I probably would group first, get vision down, and then go to the side lane. But now, given that I'm in, high plat, I've said this information in the chat. What am I thinking? Well, I'm thinking, okay, what is my ability? How is my ability to shove out the side lane? How safe am I? So how do I actually, I guess, assess safety? I assess the level of engage onto me by the enemy jungler. What is my strength versus the enemy mid lane or top lane if they try to match me? I guess, again, what is the enemy's level engage on my AD carry and support? What is our level of control around the map? Look at our vision. Where is my teammates? Is my jungler recalling, getting Gromp and recalling, going back to base, in which maybe I would have to just get Krugs or go back mid first? All of these things are helping me dictate what I do when I reach the side lane. And then also, you got to always tie it back to what you're trying to achieve on your champion. And I know that I'm Twisted Fate. I really want to create a man advantage fight. If I'm playing an Orianna or a Cassio, I wouldn't really want to be stuck in the side lane, because a fight could potentially break out. I know that as Orianna and Cassio, I probably would shove this and maybe just group mid. Because, if a fight, and then because I want to be grouped with the team if a fight were to break out around an objective. But again, I'm playing Twisted Fate, so I want to create a man advantage. You always got to tie it back to what you're trying to achieve. If you were to envision the best TF game, what does that look like? What are some ways to get leads to create that product, that end product? So on my way to the lane right now, I'm constantly panning my camera to assess the level of engage. I'm assessing our vision. I'm assessing my teammates' locations. Obviously pinging my ultimate cooldown. I'm using pings to communicate back. Whenever my Jarvan looks to if I look like they're posturing for a fight, I'm just pinging back. This is all helping me, I guess, achieve my end goal as Twisted Fate, which is, again, creating a man advantage. And as soon as I see Shen here, what does this say to me? Well, this says to me that something's not right. That means, then where's Katarina, the enemy mid laner? she's either going to be grouping bot, but why is my Jax grouping mid? It didn't start to make sense. So what I do is I put some vision down, and then I type in chat, Jax bot please. I'm trying to tell my Jax to go bot because Katarina's bot. Why is my Jax just sitting mid? It doesn't make sense. We need to be creating a man advantage. And if it's just me and Shen in the side lane like this, you know, there's going to be no man advantage because Shen can just Shen ultimate, you know? So as we fast forward a little bit, I keep telling him, Jax, please go to the side lane. And then eventually he goes to the side lane. So now what am I thinking? Well, just because Jax goes to the side lane doesn't mean I should be looking for a fight now. It means I need to wait for someone to show. And I need to continually communicate with my team. I don't want a fight to break out. So if you actually look at this, I'm looking at the level, again, I'm looking at the level of engage. They have a Xerath, Tristana, and a Shaco, so it's not too much engage. I'm looking at the vision we have. If we weren't able to get this vision down, again, I would group down with the team, which is then going to allow me to feel a lot safer to be able to push out the side lane, knowing that they're not going to get engaged on. So now what actually happens is that I'm just staying in the side lane like this, and I'm pinging back. Saying pinging back. I don't want stuff to happen. And then I'm pinging bot tier 2 because I want Jax to go all the way to bot tier 2 to force Shen to go to bot. But then I see Shen still here. I'm like, what is going on? Where's Katarina? So I keep pinging back. I keep pinging them back. I keep pinging them back me because I don't want them to fight. We need Katarina to show bot or Shen to go bot, in which then we can potentially create a man advantage. So we haven't created a man advantage yet. So I'm constantly communicating using pings with the team. And I guess my team's quite aligned because I've said this so much in this game. So now Shaco comes top. But I know, due to my prior assessment, that I know they don't have much threat on me. I have Exhaust, I have Mercury Treads, I have Zhonya's, I have both Summoners. I know they can't really kill me. I know I can always escape. And yes, I blow my Zhonya's and then I end up flashing here. But I've already previously assessed this. I know they can't kill me. There's nothing, no surprise. And now as soon as Shaco shows top, Katarina showed bot, we're able to get a man advantage fight mid. They realize it, they engage. And even if they didn't engage, I would have engaged myself given that I'm Twisted Fate. So through great communication, through constant pings, through constant thinking about all this stuff, there's no surprises. You know, there's no way I'm just going to die randomly top because I've thought this through. I've really thought of, like, everything's calculated if you always bring it back to your identity. I know the strength of my champion. Again, if I'm just autopiloting in the side lane and I haven't assessed the jungler's threat on me, I haven't assessed the level of vision, I haven't assessed the level of engage, all these things, then yes, bad things are going to happen. And again, it all just requires a lot of focus. And all this, like, yes, playing a game like this is very tiring. As you've seen on my stream, playing a game like this is very tiring. But this is how you genuinely climb. It takes a lot of effort. And you got to take total responsibility for the game. Because I'm going to say something quite bold here. That 95% of players, when they play a champion, they don't know the end result, what they're trying to achieve. So they just get into mid-game and they autopilot. Or they just wait for someone else to take control of the game. Or they just hope good things happen. Right? So this is I'm giving you guys the tools. This will really up your game, guys. So now just a little bit further in this game, everyone wants to group for this Infernal Dragon, which is, 24 minutes in the game. And this is a result of me not taking enough control. I need to ping back around this fight because I know this is taking a fight that is not coherent with my champion. And because I didn't communicate with pings, Jarvan just sees someone and goes. And why is this bad? Well, our Jax is trying to split push top. And they're all here. It's a 5v5. We see them here. There's no advantage. We're not playing with any advantage. And again, you can look at this and say, oh, my jungler's just bad or my team's just bad. No, they don't know what to do. You have to assume that every player doesn't know what they're doing and you have to take responsibility. And yes, we end up, this fight ends up being unfavorable. So we end up losing this fight or whatever. And even though we're ahead, because, again, I'm Twisted Fate, this is not the fight I want. These straight up 5v5 team fights, and we end up losing this fight. And again, I review this game, and I take responsibility. I did not, out of base, I should have communicated. I should have told them exactly what we wanted to happen. I should have used pings. I could have done a lot of things better, but I didn't. And what the default response is of people is just engage or go. They see someone and go. So I could have prevented this, and I didn't. All right? So this is you start to see the mindset, I guess, of how you start to approach, mid-game. So just the last clip within this specific VOD, 26 minutes in the game. And you may ask, how come here everyone's grouping and, this specific moment, I'm not too fussed with it. And the reason I'm not too fussed with it is because we've pushed them deep all the way to tier 2. So ideally, I would want Jax bot, But look at this. Xerath is actually catching a wave at tier 2. We've actually got all this control, which means our next objective, we need to be able to break this tower. So actually, now that I know that all my team is hovering me topside to get this tower, I know that this dive, even though it's not a complete man advantage fight, I know it's going to be favorable because we have so much room and we know we have so much time and space to make this play because Xerath was catching waves at tier 2 for so long. So yes, this fight isn't exactly ideal for Twisted Fate, but again, you're not going to always, it's not always going to be able to be perfect, but given the state of the map in my assessment, I didn't ping it off because I knew that it was still okay. It was still okay for Twisted Fate, given all this control and given we've pushed them all the way to tier 2. And that's what pushing mid allows you to do. It makes them react to a wave all the way deep and then allows your team to create a man advantage themselves. Rather than me create the man advantage, they actually created the man advantage themselves, which is what you can do when you're ahead. So let's jump into the next VOD, guys. So in this next VOD, guys, this is going to be a little bit of a tricky situation. I'm actually playing Victor and I'm behind. So I'm 0-2, but my bot lane's actually quite fed. So in games when you're behind, unless every single lane's losing, you know, you can't win those games where every lane's losing. Then you just kind of got to accept reality. But in this game specifically, I had my top lane was losing, but my bot lane was winning. So when you're behind, mid game turns a little bit different. You actually got to have a different mindset when you're behind in mid game. So what you actually got to think is, okay, I'm not going to be the sole focus of this game, but given the identity of my champion, how can I get back into the game still? What sort of things can I do to prevent myself from continuously feeding? And what also can I do to, I guess, eventually bring about an advantage for myself eventually? So what a really good tactic you can do when your bot lane's winning and then you're losing yourself is you can actually get them to swap and send them mid. And again, this is the same concept where if I send my AD carry and support mid, you know, we're most likely going to be fighting over a dragon soon. They're going to get complete control. I'm just drawing on the mini map here. They're going to get complete control around here. And yes, if I play safe enough bot and respect enough, they're not going to be able to dive me bot because they can just lean into bot river here and then prevent me from getting dived. As long as you ping and communicate that you want them to hover you bot side, which they most likely will, given that around this time dragons are a pretty contested objective, it's going to allow for a much more clean game. But if I were to stay mid, for example, let's just say you know, rather than setting my AD carry and support mid, they just continue to shit on bot 2v2 like this, the game's going to be a lot harder because they're not going to be able to push their lead out 2v2 bot because the enemy mid jungle is going to just constantly lean into river and prevent them from pushing out completely. So it's a lot easier for us as a team for me to continue to farm and then for them to push their lead if I'm isolated bot and they can transition their lead mid into controlling bot river. Because it's a lot harder to control bot river from bot side rather than from mid side. It's a lot easier to control river from mid. So that's actually the main fundamental reason of it. So what actually happens, I said, me bot, Senna go mid. And what this actually does, if you'll notice in a second, now we start to get vision out. Look, we start to have a ward here. We start to put a ward here. For some reason, they start to lean top side for some reason. They should be leaning bot because I didn't communicate. Again, I take responsibility for this. So what does this mean for me? Then I have to adapt. So this is where adaptation comes into play. I'm behind. I'm not the core element of this team. So my job, ideally, they will be leaning me bot side so I can just, I guess, continue to farm bot and again prep for a dragon, but they don't. So I have to respect. I have to now accept reality that my jungle's top side. And when you're in the side lane and when you're in any game, especially when you're behind, understanding where your jungler is absolutely crucial. You need to be constantly assessing where your jungler is and where the enemy jungler is. Right now, I don't know where anyone is. All I know is my jungler's leaning topside, which suggests we're playing to topside, which means I'm on weak side. In my mind, I know I'm going to be playing on the weak side of the map. So I have to adapt. Ideally, now I should just probably go back up to my Gromp, maybe clear blue, or just group all the way mid, give bot tower, and then we actually trade it for top tower, if that's the case. So again, this is a combination of me. Now what actually happens, maybe I'm tilted or autopiloting. I'm playing aggressive on the weak side of the map when I don't know where the enemy team is. I die. And now the advantage, all that control we have, you know, heading into topside river is actually not going to be leading to much because I'm just dying on the opposite side. When I should have been 100% playing safe right now. And then this is what I see all the time in coaching sessions. I do it myself sometimes. You know, you lose concentration, you get tilted because you're behind, and you actually make it a lot harder for your team to actually win the game. But you can still play a part and continue to farm as long as you assess jungle locations. You put a focus on getting control around, I guess, like the control around mid, and you identify who's weak side and who's strong side. They're the first, I guess, main key things you want to be thinking about. So right now, after dying, I'm 0-3. My AD carry and support are quite fed, but they're just sitting mid right now. So what does that mean for me? Again, do I need to group mid for an immediate objective? If there was a dragon or a Rifttail that we were grouping for and contesting for, I would ideally just run straight mid. And the reason why, again, that ties into the identity of my champion. I'm a front-to-back team-fighting mage that I need my front line there. I need protection. I need to keep them at range. I don't want to be coming in from the side lane. I don't want to be coming in from a flank. I don't want to be coming in from the side. I want to be coming in from the front and seeing the enemy and playing with my team. But given that there's no immediate objective, given that we have quite a lot of control on the map, and what I mean by control, look at this. Well, we see Rek'Sai top just kill my top laner, but we have vision here, we have all this vision, we have Scuttle, we have all this, which says to me that, I mean, I have a lot of information right now. And this is all a result of our AD carry and support being able to translate their pressure around the map. Ideally, they would be putting it bot side, not top side, but I haven't really communicated that. So what does this say to me? This says to me that I'm able to get blue. They don't need me mid to get pressure because they already have pressure. So I can just sit in the side lane. And the game, and what actually happens here is that the enemy mid laner tries to face my AD carry and support, and he's getting absolutely destroyed. So look at this. It's so much harder for this. Well, it's actually Yi, Zillion bot lane. It's so much harder for them to punish me, given that my AD carry and support are winning mid, because they should ideally be controlling all bot side river here, and my jungler could just hover me bot side, and it's way harder to dive me here. It's quite hard to actually dive me here, especially when I'm playing Victor. So maybe if I'm playing a champion like an Orianna, maybe I can't sit here. But given that I'm Victor, I feel quite safe to wave clear. But then the main thing here, guys, and what I really want to stress is that when your AD carry and support are fed, they can really push their lead more when they're mid. And again, tying it back, if they were bot here, they would not be able to push their lead because I would be getting pushed in mid, and then we would have no control in river, and they would be scared anyway. And now this is a very common example of where the AD carry and support get frustrated. My jungler's here to kind of back me up, and then I'm able to kind of, I guess, protect the dive here and double kill them. And I think Echo misplays it, but it is what it is. So now this is, I'm going to go over such a common thing. This is a really, really, really common situation, and I actually fall into the trap of making the exact same mistake. So what do we know? We see Rek'Sai now on topside in topside jungle. My Jace is really far behind. I'm pretty far behind. Like, I've died quite a few times. I'm not completely weak, but I'm behind. The enemy Rek'Sai is quite fed. But my bot lane, again, my AD carry and support are actually killing it. So I need to play around them. So what do? I have a choice. I can either go straight, I'm just drawing on the minimap here. I can either go straight down mid, push out this Heimerdinger with them, and then move into top river to clear vision, and then walk to the side lane. Which, a lot of the time, that will be the case because, your AD carry and support aren't going to be winning this hard. But given that my AD carry and support are winning pretty hard, I know that eventually they're going to be able to shove the wave, push in his Heimerdinger, and lean onto topside for me, which is going to give me protection and allow me to shove out topside. So I know that in my mind, they haven't done that yet. They haven't shoved out mid yet. So what does that mean for me? I need to respect. I need to play very, very carefully because I know that Rek'Sai's in here, and I know that there's no reason for Rek'Sai to be scared because they're still reacting to waves mid. This is where timing, threat assessment, all these sorts of things really, really comes into play. And me really understanding the identity of my champion and how, I guess, the threat that people have onto me. If I was versing, say, what's a champion with not much threat? Like, maybe I'm versing a Kayn jungle who's behind. I probably wouldn't have to respect here. I could probably just shove out the side lane. But given that I'm versing a fed Rek'Sai, who can, I don't have flash, I don't have any defensive summoners at the moment, I know that he can absolutely destroy me. So, in hindsight, this was a moment where, okay, maybe it's taking my AD carry and support a bit longer than expected to get mid push. Let me just come there first to ensure that they get the mid push. We can walk together, place our vision down. If ideally, I would also have a pink, so I should have sold my Doran's ring for a pink. Place a pink down, then go to the side lane, shove it out, and then regroup, given the identity of my champion. Or if I'm not playing Victor, maybe I continue to push in the side lane, given that I can get towers fast or whatever, depending on the champion I'm playing. But what I do instead here, guys, is that I don't respect that. I don't wait for them to push out mid, and then I just get caught and give them the fight. And again, what will happen generally in solo queue is now that person, me being Victor, that person would rage quit, say, oh my god, the jungle difference, or my team, why are you not helping me, or whatever it is. and they'll get more tilted, and they'll continue to make mid-game decisions that aren't coherent with their champion, and they're not assessing the appropriate variables to prevent themselves from dying. And again, when you're behind, your job isn't to just be that sole carry. Your job is to minimize and complement the rest of your team and find a way to achieve your identity given everything that's happening in the game. So now what I want to do, I actually want to show you it done properly. And this is an example of it done properly. So I know now that I'm Victor, I don't have flash still, I don't have my ultimate, I can't push any deeper now knowing that we have no control in topside river. I have to wait for my team. I have to wait till we have control. So what do? I catch that wave that's deep at our tier 2, and then I begin to group. And now what I do on my way through mid, I just maybe chuck a ward down. I can get Krogs because my team's actually dead for a little bit. So because I know that we can't, push it out much further. Actually, no, I don't do Krogs. I just get this wave because I thought that I could just feel a little bit safe enough just to get this wave given that my center was just recalling. And now I group. So fast forwarding a little bit, I just group. And this is going to allow me, and I actually ping top river here. I ping this echo here, tell him to come here, ping here. Because I know this is where we need control. I need to check all these bushes for pings. I need to help my team get this wave in, and we walk into river together. And look what happens. I group with the team. We get the next mid wave. Echo ideally should be with us as well. And then we walk into river here. We get the tower. And now if a fight breaks out, this is not too bad. Because we're together as a team. Harmony is catching a side wave. We're getting our vision down. We're clearing vision. This is going to allow me now to go on the side wave and to push out this Harmoninger. Or if they don't, a fight here will be favorable for us. And then, you know, as it kind of breaks out, they force a fight and we end up like taking a team fight here. So, but the premise is that's the play done properly. That's me recognizing I'm threatened. I can't push out. I'm going to come mid, help my team, then go, after that, push out the side lane after. So that's how you kind of do it properly. So this is a game where I'm playing Orianna and I'm actually versing a Syndra. In terms of the team, my AD carry got ahead early game, but he hasn't been farming well. In this game, I actually assumed that my AD carry and support were winning hard mid, and we'll actually get the push into river. But what I didn't realize is that because they weren't farming well, they weren't as strong as I thought. But also what I did know, though, was that my Mundo was topside because we just got Rift Herald, and he's really, really, really strong. So I know that most likely we're going to have top river control because I know Mundo's in the area. So what I've first identified is the objective that we're playing for. Just looking at the map, I know we've already got this mid tier 1, and our next objective is this top tier 1. So I need to figure out a way, how can I get this top tier 1? Do I need to group mid for control first? That's going to allow me to kind of then go back top and then slowly get it out? Or do I feel safe enough given the amount of engage they have on my AD carry and support, given the amount of gauge they have on me on the side lane or threat they have on me on the side lane, could I just continue to stay here? Then what I do, I end up deciding to catch this wave while I make my mind up to decide. I take time to decide a little bit. But then what I see is that we have actually a ward in the dot brush there. And then I see Syndra show bot, which says to me they're probably not going to be looking for a play mid anytime soon, given Ornn crossed this ward and heading topside and Syndra showed bot. Then I realized, well, given his vision and given Mundo's topside here, and given if Ornn's going to be topside, their lack of engaged mid, I can probably just continue to shove out top. And I check here the vision with my ball, and then I see Mundo actually come topside, and he's actually hovering me topside, which is really, really good. If he didn't, I probably would, and what I should have been doing is actually pinging and communicating in chat that, can you hover me topside for this tower? But then, what do I see? He's hovering me, so I know that this is either a 1v1, or if a fight breaks out, I know that it's going to be pretty favorable. Because I know that Mundo's going to get to this fight before anyone else. The problem is here, I didn't expect Ornn's damage. He tries to all-in me, so it's actually a lot closer than I expected. But we end up killing this Ornn, which is really, really good. Then I see Gragas bot, so I know this is just an isolated 1v1. So notice, it's a constant assessment of a bunch of different things. It's a constant assessment of my strength compared to the person I'm versing, the amount of control we have onto the river, the amount of engage they have on us in the mid, the AD carry and support, the strength of my jungler, the location of my jungler, my summoners, my ultimate cooldowns, all these things you need to be thinking about. And even, again, tying it all the way back to my identity, I want to open up the game so then it's going to be played around objectives. I want to be playing around, I want to be pushing sides and then playing around objectives. I don't want to be sitting in the side lane ideally. So this decision to stay top was based off of a bunch of different things. It was based off knowing Mundo's really strong, knowing he's on top side, knowing that Syndra's bot, knowing that Orange crossed over top and he's the only one top side. And again, in the game, I actually thought that our Senna and our Soraka got shoved 2v2, which is a mistake on my behalf. If I were to probably go back in time, in hindsight, maybe I probably would have went mid, allowed them to shove deep all the way to tier 2, then go top. Because I actually thought that was what was going to happen. Mundo just getting Rift Herald was actually going to hover mid, which would allow them to shove all the way to tier 2, given that we've already gotten tier 1 tower, which then them hover me topside, and then it's going to be very easy to break tier 1. But because AD carry and support were losing for some reason, or for the lack of farm, then it made it a little bit more sketchy than it had to be. So again, you're starting to see the trends within this video. It's very much a constant assessment of these variables. So just a little bit further on in this game, it's 21 minutes. We've got quite a lead. I really want to start to push this lead to a victory. So what would I be looking to do? And how do I know where to be? And how do I know when to do Baron? So what do I see? I see Syndra actually end up catching a wave all the way here because we were able to actually get tier 2 as well. So we're able to shove that wave really deep. And I know that we have a lot of control, and I know this Baron's our next objective. So, and then I noticed Jack's bot, but then Ornn is mid. So I'm thinking, well, someone's going to have to react to this Jack's mid. So consciously, I'm thinking right now is that we don't really want to be looking for a fight straight up here, given that Jax has actually got the split push going on bot side. But what is the other thing that I'm thinking about simultaneously? I'm thinking about what is the speed of our Baron? What is the tankiness of our team comp to be able to tank this Baron? What sort of fights does Orianna want? I want these fights around Baron because they're going to have to walk through choke points, which means it's going to be very easy for me to get my poke off. It's going to be very easy for me to keep them out of range because they're going to be just on vision. It's going to be hard for them to flank me, and it's going to be very easy for me to get a really good ultimate off. So again, you need to be constantly tying it all together with what sort of fights does your champion want. If I'm playing Fizz here, I would be top. I wouldn't be just grouping here, hoping that they're going to walk through here. I would probably be top here, pushing them all the way deep, and then looking to get a flank from top side. But that's not the case here. So then what do? I'm constantly trying to, I guess, deny as much vision as possible to make sure that we're constantly threatening this Baron, knowing that Jax is split pushing bot. And as soon as, then what I actually don't realize is quick enough in the game is that Jax kills bot. He actually kills this Ezreal. And my default habit is to constantly push mid again. Constantly push mid because pushing mid allows us to maintain river control. So I push mid every single time it crashes. And then I realize, wait, Ezreal just died bot. So I ping Jax to continue to push bot. And then I ping Baron. Because I know even if the enemy team comes, it's going to be a 4v5 because Jax can TP. And then also, if they walk into river, this is great for me. We can turn with my Orianna ball, and Mundo can also tank forever. So we actually have a tank. So there's a bunch of reasons why this Baron is actually a decent call. If we didn't have someone to actually tank the Baron, this might not have been the best call. Maybe this wasn't the best call. I can't tell you in the specific moment what I'd be thinking, but I think that I probably would have been a little bit more dubious about this call. But yes, Ezreal was dead, so maybe we would have called it. It would depend on our ability to kind of heal. Given we have a Soraka, it's not too bad. Maybe if we had like a Zera support and an Evelyn jungle, this probably would have been very, very hard. Maybe we would have to shove them a lot deeper mid and maybe just play for Dragon or wait for someone else to show bot, then do it. But again, you need to be assessing all these things, these variables in the game, because it's going to be different every single game. And I'm not going to be able to be there watching your games, telling you what to do in mid to late game. So I'm going to leave the video here, but I really hope you learned a lot in this video, and I really tried to explain and try and give you the tools to be able to, in your own games, identify what to do in mid-game. And if you're ever unsure, guys, tie it back. What is my champion's strengths and weaknesses? What decisions in the game, or how can I communicate with my team to make sure I'm, I guess, abusing the strength of my champion and minimizing things that are happening which are going to be bad for my champion? And use the analogy of like real life. How do you know what you're going to do if you don't know what you're trying to achieve in the first place? Reverse engineer the situation that you're trying to achieve. And again, it's all the little small things that add up. And believe you me, when I see people say, oh, they don't listen in gold, a lot of the time they're not really communicating well. They'll communicate very early, just before the play starts. They won't communicate in advance. They won't use their pings properly. And these are, like, I guess, the main things. People do listen. People aren't bots, okay? So hopefully this really helps. And I'm pumping out a lot more videos recently. I still got a bunch of coaching sessions to get through this week, but hopefully I'll be starting to put out a lot more videos. Cheers. Thanks for watching.